So a year in court kind of ensued. Our defence was, number one, that the use of the Protection from Harassment Act in the way that it was being used was a misuse of the law.
Around December time, we'd put in several applications about the conduct of their lawyers.
What Mr Lawson-Cruttenden did was try to obtain large amounts of disclosure from the police about defendants and witnesses in the court case.
It's a very sad reflection of our society that protest groups not only target, the opposition, they start targeting the opposition's lawyers.
And this is around the time that I think they started to rethink what they'd done. There was this huge legal team costing thousands of pounds, consisting of Lawson-Cruttenden, of Queen's Counsel, and of another firm of solicitors called LeBeuf and Lamb, and there was me and Lorna on the other side. The judge ruled that Lawson-Cruttenden had abused the process of the court, and that there had been serious misconduct in the court case.
Well, I mean, I can't really comment on that, mate, because it's the subject of a complaint. So I mean, I can't say either way.
Well, basically, we won. The injunction case was overturned. The interim injunction lasted until March 2006, from I guess May 2005, so almost a year.
I'm going to serve you with that, which is the court order. That is, the injunction now only applies to 5 named defendants.
Thank you very much.
Served.
Lovely.
Any comment? Any comment?
Not at all.
The injunction, which you've been policed for the last 11 months, now only applies to 5 named defendants.
Right, I'm totally aware of that.
Okay?
I'm totally...
Served.
Excuse me? Oh, come here. I am aware of the injunction. I don't need to be told by you. Now go away, demonstrate peacefully, everybody's happy. Okay?
But not you.
The police have refused to investigate themselves as to whether they colluded with the company. Big surprise.
I do not have to explain to you, and I will not have
You can't explain,
I will
can
not
you?
have pieces of paper shoved through my van. Go
Shove.
away.
You can't really form a partnership with the police because that would be unconstitutional, because they're meant to be what are called the referees in society.
They don't have obligations to assist private litigants in obtaining injunctions. That's not their purpose, that's not their role. And where it comes to confidential material gathered in the context of criminal prosecutions, they can only disclose that, in my view, with an order of the court.
More and more evidence came out that there was close communication between the police and Edo's lawyers.
Well, that's what the protesters say, and they'll always say that, won't they?
So what do you think of the Edo campaign? I mean, it's obviously gathered.
You're not going to comment on whether I agree with it or disagree with it.
Well, it's up to you.
That wouldn't be fair, because we're not there to take sides.
The police admitted that they didn't want to police the protests anymore. A statement was made saying that there were financial implications in policing the ongoing protests, which is one of the reasons why the police sought to support the injunction. But Edo needed arrests. They needed a stronger injunction.
Around the time of the crumbling of the injunction, the cases which had been brought against campaigners during the time the injunction was in place began to crumble as well.
At that time, there were cases ongoing against 13 defendants, and as a result of representations we made to the Crown Prosecution Service, all cases were discontinued against all defendants on all charges.
And this all started because in January 2006, 3 protesters had their case in court.
The starting point was the weapons inspection case, and in that case was listed for a 3-day trial, and we'd managed to get disclosure via the High Court of the line of correspondence and communications between Timothy Lawson-Cruttenden and a senior police officer. Now, we had Mr. Lawson-Cruttenden's version, and we were seeking the police equivalent of those documents. If you like, if we've got record of one phone call, then where's the other side of it?
The prosecution said that this evidence attracted public interest immunity and shouldn't be disclosed.
It's a sort of law that's applied to informants in perhaps in drugs cases, where the Crown will seek to withhold information because they want to protect the identity of the informant.
There then ensued a public interest immunity hearing, which is closed.
And what happened in this case is the judge took the view that there was material that the Crown claimed attracted public interest immunity, but that the defence should have. As a consequence of that, the Crown offered no evidence against the defendants rather than disclose that material. So they didn't want to disclose it, so they dropped the case.
This evidence, this phantom evidence, became a kind of magic tool.
As a follow-on from that, knowing that there was material that the Crown didn't want to disclose, we made an application for all of the other cases.
The cases just sort of, there was like a domino effect, one after the other after the other, they all just sort of fell down.
The case against Jaya for ABH and breach of a civil injunction was dropped, and the case against Paul for breach of a civil injunction was also dropped.
There was then the 8 arrests on the 31st of May. All cases were discontinued by the Crown prior to trial.
I received a letter saying that the police didn't consider that my continuing prosecution was in the public interest, which strikes me as quite surprising if they'd really thought that I'd assaulted a police officer.
It's very unusual. I mean, it's certainly one of the cases, one of the last cases to be discontinued in the Crown Court. A schedule of cases was handed up, and the Crown Court judge commented that he had never come across anything like that, to have so many cases discontinued. We will never know what that information is that the Crown sought to withhold, but clearly it was important enough that they hold on to it, that they drop the cases.
This whole legal attack on the campaign just crumbled, and Edo and the police were left with nothing really from a whole year of attempting to repress protests outside the factory.